think would happen if you didn't know your goals and if your realtor didn't know your goals?
Moving forward with the DekkerTeam. Moving forward together with the DekkerTeam.
Hello, this is Yetta Dekker.
And I'm Ken Dekker.
And welcome to another episode of the Inside Track, where we share tools, techniques, and thoughts that we all need, we all deserve. You, I, everyone, so that we can make our house a home and where our families thrive and we can really just live the best life possible.
You're right. If we don't know our goals or the goals of our clients, we'll get somewhere, but it won't be maybe where we want, where they want to go.
Right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's the challenge.
Yes.
We'll get somewhere, just maybe not the right somewhere.
Yeah, it reminds me of a story once I heard a pilot came on the announcement and he said, I got good news and bad news. Good news is we are going faster than we've ever gone before.
Which is fantastic, right?
Yeah. The bad news is we don't know where we're going.
And that's terrible. So we got to know where we're going in life. So today's show, we're going to explore, and what we'll learn is why do we ask questions? And what's the power of the question asking? Because it's not always comfortable.
Right.
And yet what we've learned, and many of our clients have learned, is that if we start giving prescription, or even if a doctor, even more importantly, starts to give a prescription without first doing a diagnosis, we call that malpractice. And that's something I don't ever want to get caught in doing, is malpractice as it relates to real estate.
Yeah, it's kind of like one shoe fits all. If you think real estate is like that, then you wouldn't listen to the client's needs.
Right.
Right? And then that's probably the number one complaint I get. If someone hasn't had a good experience in the past, it's the agent didn't listen to me. They didn't show me properties in my price range. They showed me properties that I said I didn't want that type, or I didn't want with an in-ground pool, and they showed me properties with an in-ground pool. It just shows they weren't asking questions, weren't listening, and weren't responding.
Right. And so whether we're talking about buying or whether we're talking about selling or whether we're talking about investing, knowing the goal that the person that is looking to either buy, sell, or invest has allows us then to give a proper strategy, the appropriate strategy for that person. And then we're not just going fast. We're going at the pace the person's comfortable going. And in this market, hopefully there's some element of fast because it's going to take it, especially if you're a buyer or an investor.
Yeah.
And then we also are going in the right direction.
Yeah. And yet we don't go fast until we know their key objectives and their goals, because I always say, first you get good, then you get fast.
Right.
Because you'll never get good going fast.
Much to my chagrin. Right? And so questions. Questions can be, and maybe you've had this experience, that when somebody's asking you questions, it can conjure a bunch of different things. Sometimes it feels uncomfortable because you're thinking, well, I don't want them to know that. Right? Sometimes I don't want somebody to know the answer to the question.
Yeah, I think frequently clients don't necessarily like telling us their reasoning behind. And I think it's twofold. One is sometimes they're embarrassed by the circumstance they're in. And sometimes that's a negative thing. It's a family breakup, or it's a financial issue or whatever. Yeah. So there's a little bit of, I can't believe we got ourselves here.
Right.
Right. And then other times I think they think that if they give too much information, they'll give up their power.
Right.
That you'll use it against them.
And so that's why it matters, like matters and matters and matters, that you choose somebody that you can actually trust.
Right.
Because if you trust me and I trust you, and it is so a mutual journey, because I can't believe the answers if I don't trust the person.
Right.
And the person can't give me the answers to the questions if they don't trust me or don't trust the team.
Right.
So it's a collective element of trust that needs to exist, because without the answers to the questions of why and our objectives and what the rationale and the reasons are, it's pretty much impossible to provide the best solution and the best strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I can provide a strategy and a solution. I can get houses sold every day, any day. It's just, am I doing it in the right way for that person?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll share maybe a quick little story.
Sure.
You know, my goal is often for a seller is to get the most money possible. And I think most sellers would say, hey, that's what I want to. And I'm okay if you create strategy around creating multiple offers, creating a little bit of a bid effect, creating an auction effect. If my property is located in an area that allows that and the market is such a time that allows that. Mm-hmm. So for me, that's a go-to what I want to accomplish for somebody. Mm-hmm. And yet if I ask questions, and in the early days, I did not do this, and I didn't find out that for this particular client, there was no way they were going to work with somebody that was that strategic about it, because it was uncomfortable for them. It didn't resonate with them as a way to sell a house. Whereas if I had asked questions, what feels good to you? What's your objective is you're looking to sell? What are you hoping to sell for? And are you comfortable with creating a bidding situation? That she would have said very, very quickly no. Mm-hmm. And instead, I didn't know that. So I'm taking her down a path she doesn't want to go down. So I'm giving her an amazing strategy that many desire and are grateful that we do, and not everyone.
Right.
So asking a question or many little questions allows that to be drawn out.
Yeah, I know for me, like when I go into a consultation on investing and building wealth, that it's so important that I start to get the end goal, the picture. Like it's one thing if they come in and they just say, well, I want to buy an investment property. Well, that's not enough information for me. I need to know what their end game is, how many they want to, what's the reason for them building wealth. And, you know, many times it's not for them personally. Sometimes it's to be able to be in ministry or to do whatever. But it so helps me in putting together a strategy and a plan for them to reach their end goal. Sometimes it's about cash flow. Sometimes it's about wealth accumulation. And they don't care about cash flow. They're paying too much in taxes now, and they want actually to hide some money. Well, I say hide.
It's not really hide.
They're spending some money on it. That's a tax write-off, right? So there's different scenarios, and I can't start to prescribe how to do that investment until I know.
Exactly. So looking at questions, even if sometimes uncomfortable, is absolutely necessary. And being willing to step in and answer that question. So questions open doors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. John Maxwell has a quote around that. He says, look at questions like they're keys. Keys open doors. And the more keys you have on the key ring, the more doors you can open.
We're grateful to be your partners in growing wealth through real estate.
Moving forward with the Decker team. Moving forward together with the Decker team.